Senator, yesterday you brought up that you do think Trump, he will most likely be the nominee, but
Yeah.
you also think that there's a divide in the party, and it's really hard to overcome that. How do you think the party does this?
Yeah, I mean, what I've been saying all along, I mean, there's just warning signs out here. I mean, Trump has got 51% in Iowa. He's right now polling around 50% in New Hampshire. That's great in a primary, but one of the things that you've got to do that is a little bit of a challenge for Trump going forward, because he's such a well-known and well-defined candidate, is how do you coalesce all those voters who know you very, very, very well, but are not voting for you in these early primary states. So let's just if you look at his speech the other night in Iowa, it was a great first step. It was one of the most magnanimous speeches I've heard Trump give. He seems to understand that his role right now is not to go out and, I mean, he's basically won the primaries already. It's now his job to try to get those primary voters who have concerns about him to try to get him on board. And the biggest advantage he has is he's got an incredibly unpopular president that he's running against, and that's a great foil to unify the party with.
Yeah, Senator, great point. And I honestly, I want, just as we're continuing our coverage, and we've got New Hampshire on Tuesday, but just be aware that the narrative has already shifted. And Mercedes, we were sort of talking about this Tuesday night, and then Morning Joe yesterday really put an exclamation point at the end of it. The narrative now is if Trump wins, he's not winning by enough. And we saw that. Right. We saw that in Iowa. Morning Joe said that if Barack Obama lost in 2012 to Mitt Romney and then ran again in 2016 and was in Iowa, he would have won more than 51%. He would have won all 99 counties, and the margin would have been more than 30%. And I'm like, that is so bizarre. By the way, we've got an incumbent Democrat president. Why use Obama? Why not use Joe Biden? But that would be like me saying if Reagan lost in 84 and then ran again in 88, he would do better in Iowa than Trump just did. We are on a different planet when you're having hypothetical conversames like that. Mercedes.
Yeah, I mean, look at the Democrats. They don't want anyone else running against Joe Biden. We saw, for example, that Robert F. Kennedy Jr., a Democrat, ended up, moving towards becoming an independent in this case because they don't want anyone challenging the incumbent. Knowing that Joe Biden right now, talk about his approval ratings, they're dismal. They're at 33%, incredibly low. Right now, in a moment where our country's in crisis, internationally, we're seeing multi-front wars that obviously Joe Biden is incapable of handling. And they're going to keep raising up this question, is he mentally fit? Can't he manage the stresses of the presidency, which obviously he is unable to do? So I think the Democrats have their own set of problems. And I think what you're seeing is that the liberal media is going to keep focusing on Donald Trump being this dictator figure, which is completely ridiculous. And the fact is that I personally don't want the liberal media. I don't want the DOJ. I don't want the Democrats deciding who our Republican nominee is, because that's what they've been doing by trying to keep Donald Trump in the courts through all these indictments and through trying to kick him off the ballot. I mean, these have been outrageous steps, what I say anti-American steps, to trying to destroy Donald Trump because they're so obsessed with this man and making sure that he doesn't regain power and win this election.
Yeah, we saw what happened with MSNBC, Rachel Maddow, who refused to even air Trump's speech, and then CNN breaking in because Trump talked about the border. It's unreal. I don't even know how these are news organizations. Yeah. Senator Santorum, Mercedes, thank you so much. Glad you guys made it home safe.